Okay, so you were telling me about the rituals.
Yeah, so the structure that we use will be having a ceremony or a ritual depending upon what time of the year it is. So we obviously follow the wheel of the year. So that's all your festivals, your solstices, your equinoxes. So for example, the next one is Imbolc, which is either the 1st or the 2nd of February. So this year we'll be meeting, we tend to go outside if possible and connect with the energies of the land, a kind of a space that feels somewhere that's got a relevance to it. So for example, with Imbolc coming up, that's a fire festival, so we'll generally always try and have a fire responsibly, meet somewhere. The rituals will be obviously our high priestess calling the quarters, calling the directions, making sure that we're all in a safe that's kind of energetically safe, making sure that we're not open to any external forces we might not want to invite in, because then once the circle's been cast, we'll always have our altar set up facing north, with working with kind of, whatever crystals, whatever herbs, whatever colours are appropriate for that ceremony. Then we'll do any spell work that we need to do within the circle once the circle's been opened. And with our kind of collective energy and collective magic, if we feel that there's any spells that we particularly want to do individually, we'll put our own energies into that for the good of the coven. Sometimes it might not be even necessarily for any of us. It might be for, a world issue or a world theme, something that we need thieves like a bit of help or healing, or just even kind of awareness or attention drawing to it. A high priestess can open a portal in the circle so we can then leave. And it's also really important for us to feast as well, to ground ourselves, to have some food, something that's seasonal and appropriate with that. And then we'll rejoin the circle and we'll give thanks to the gods or the goddesses that we've called in to work with us, depending upon which, wheel of the year season we're marking, and close the circle. So
When you say open a portal in the circle,
yeah,
how does that work?
She works with visualization.
Right.
So she's absolutely amazing. So she can cast like protective shields over people. She can, the circle is close, so there's a lot. Once all of us are together working, our power is very, very large. But also sometimes we might be doing, divination or even connecting with spirit, and that can mean that you're open to all kinds of, entities or possibilities as well. So opening the portal means that we're able to leave safely, then re-enter and close it back down, because the energy is very high. And we do find that quite often a couple of days after we've done a ritual or had a meeting, we all feel just zapped, very, very, very tired. So it's important to keep the energies kind of secure when they're being used, to exit, to enter, and to close down really properly. It's like hygiene, if you think about it that way. I think that's the best way of kind of describing it. It's like washing yourself,
So when you are doing a ritual or casting a spell, or you're in a portal,
Yeah.
do you feel as though you're in an altered state?
Yes, absolutely. You can feel it. You can definitely feel it. It's the kind of the tingling. Sometimes we will even like hear and see things, collectively as well. We'll say, oh, did you notice that? Our high priestess is especially attuned, and she'll say, there's somebody else sitting right beside me now, even before we've necessarily even tried to call in spirit. You can feel the energy. It's just like it's like when a car goes, press down on the accelerator, and it's there, it's palpable.
So you're in a covenant 4.
Yeah.
And do you elect the high priestess, or how does that work?
Oh, well, we didn't need to.
Right.
Her experience speaks for itself. It's like working in a company and having somebody who's got like, I don't know, 40 years experience versus 2 years experience. She's written books on the subject, she's been in.
Do you want to say what those books are, or?
I would need to check with her first.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, I would definitely need to check with her first.
It's brilliant. Well, thank you, Beth. Here at Wicca.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We are so blessed. I did ask for good weather.
The perfect place.
And it's been delivered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Beth, tell me about how you spent the weekend.
Okay, so at the weekend, I met with a group of friends and we celebrated the festival of Imbolc, so Imbolc means in the belly in Gaelic, and it's a festival on the wheel of the year, and it's a festival that's associated with the goddess St. Bridget. So looking at it astrologically, it normally falls when the sun is at 15 degrees of Aquarius. This slightly varies though because of the precession of the Earth as it spins on its axis. But it's normally celebrated on the 1st or the 2nd of February. So we celebrate it at the weekend. So as a group, we will always set up an altar with the corresponding colours, herbs and plants, which will kind of reflect the seasonal nature of the festival. So colours for Imbolc are white. It's very much about kind of purity, regeneration, about rebirth. It's also a lot about kind of little bits of obviously the sun starting to return to the earth, because it's the midpoint between Yule, the winter solstice, and also Ostara, or the spring equinox. So it's about kind of bringing the light back in, but about it gently returning bit by bit. So it's a very kind of nurturing, nourishing, feminine festival, and as such we take some time to honour the goddess Bridget, St. Bridget, who is the goddess of kind of home, fire, hearth, also forgery, blacksmith, things like that, and poetry as well. So we took some time to gather some reeds together outside, responsibly obviously, taking only as many as we needed, and then we visited a holy well in Madron, set up a little outside altar in the Celtic chapel there, and we made some St. Bridget's crosses, offered them, took some back to our meeting space as well, and we did a little ceremony where we called the quarters, did some very kind of gentle breath work and chanting in the circle, and had a feast of some kind of seasonal cooking that we'd done together as well, a bit of kitchen witchery, and spent that time together. And somebody read out a poem that they'd written about the seasons, which we kind of collect and keep together, and we'll bring out periodically when we mark each of our Sabbats. And it was a really, really beautiful day. So yeah.
So the Bridget cross,
Yeah.
That's made from reeds.
Yeah.
And isn't it a tradition that you would hang that in a house?
Yeah, so whatever is your hearth in your house. So it's for protection. So some people might like to have it on their threshold, but it's also to kind of keep your house warm, keep abundance coming in. So most of us, I say most of us, but I don't actually have a hearth. I don't have a fireplace in my house, so I've got it above where I cook in my kitchen. And you can kind of keep it there because the reeds are going to obviously dry out, so it's nice to keep it there for as long as is possible, and also to give them to other people as well who you're close to, where you might want to keep, their house warm, things flowing in their house, things creating, things alive,
I think also the timing of it is between midwinter and the spring equinox, isn't it? And isn't there some connection to like the lambing season as well?
Absolutely right. So some people say Imbolc can also mean ewe's milk as well. So ewe's milk, or in the belly, and it's a time when people would also maybe kind of bring their cattle in, look after their cattle. So it's all about looking after what you've got, really. And yeah, so thinking about the food that we had, because it's really always important for us to mark kind of how we feast together at our celebrations with the food that's relevant to whatever season or festival it is. We made sure there's plenty of kind of dairy and things like that reflected in that as well, and also seeds as well. So seeds for new beginnings. I did some cooking and I made sure there was like pomegranate seeds in there as well, because for me it connects to the Persephone myth, I think, obviously about returning from the underworld and light slowly returning, things like that.
Good. And St. Bridget, of course, is an Irish saint, and we are now in St. Zennor Church in Zennor. Great links to Ireland, to Celtic mythology, neo-paganism, Wicca. So we're about to walk up on the Zennor Moors. So let's go.
Let's go.
So we've just trekked up to Zennor Carn, and we're now going to go to look at what's termed Aleister Crowley's cottage. And Beth, what do you know about Crowley? How has it influenced your work?
So my connection to Crowley has been ongoing for, I would say, about 15 years. Firstly, in having read his books, primarily the Book of the Law, and I've also had some of the words from that recently tattooed on myself. The most famous ones: do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, love is the law, love under will, and also every man and every woman is a star. I visited Cairn Cottage multiple times, and I've never felt anything but really kind of restorative, grounding, for me, very kind of like peaceful energy there. People can sometimes react very vociferously when you express a liking for the words of Crowley, which I think is largely born out of fear, because fear is a great weapon of control, as we know. But for me, his words are actually all about acting with love, and one of the most important types of love is self-love. So it's about acting, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. You need to do what is right for you, taking into account that it won't, harm anybody else. So actually, as a woman, it's been very important for me to take upon those words that, my love for myself and what is right for me actually has to be a big part of my important decision-making process, because it's very much about kind of maintaining your individuality, your sovereignty, and not conforming to societal norms, as long as obviously you don't harm anybody else in the process. So for me, those words are actually really empowering, and have only kind of like enriched my life to get to know them more. Now, I work with the tarot as well, and spent a lot of years working with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but actually I really connect with Crowley's cross deck, because working with astrology a lot as well, it has got real affiliations obviously with the planets and with the zodiac signs more than the other decks. So I think it's kind of really multifaceted, multi-layered, and can really bring some very insightful interpretations when you work with it a lot. And I think the thing that Crowley did more than anything else is he taught us to think and to question and to not take things blindly because somebody else said so. So I think as long as you are mindful of what you're doing, his words are just beautiful, really, really useful in helping us to make decisions, acting with free will and with really good thought, rather than just because somebody else is telling you that's how things should be. So yeah.
Also, as a practicing astrologer and also a tarot reader, because Crowley was kind of expert in both those fields, in a way you've got kind of two tools at your disposal, to cross-reference. And do you cross-reference astrology in your tarot reading and vice versa?
Yeah, absolutely. My favourite spread to do actually is the astrological spread, where you work with the energy of the 12 houses. So that's fantastic. Also, if somebody has a question and they want to look at the card, you could maybe look at kind of what's lacking, what cards show up, what cards don't show up. So for example, if there was, a lack of, say, the suit of wands in a reading, you might say, okay, you're not doing enough, you need to act more quickly, because that's obviously associated with the fire element. You need to initiate more things, you're maybe being too passive about things. So yeah, it's really, really useful to be able to bring that into your readings as well.
Great.
Okay.
Maybe we'll do a tarot reading after this, so that people can see how you work.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we're up at the Cairn Cottage, and I've just seen this symbol on the wall. Do you know what that is, Beth?
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, I'm always happy to be corrected, but to the best of my knowledge, and this is new since the last time I've been here, so this is the universal hexagram, which Crowley would have used as a symbol of his Thelemic law, because obviously it's easily drawn without taking your hand from the page or wherever you're drawing it from, so it's good for kind of drawing in and keeping in energy, because it can be drawn in one move, so it's about the flow of sort of continual energy. And obviously you've got the 5 petaled flower in the middle of it as well, which kind of pertains to your elements and your spirit, so earth, air, fire, water, spirit. So it's about that kind of universal flow of energy, but that's definitely new, and I have to say actually I think it's very well drawn.
Yeah, I've never noticed it before. It's really strange. I just turned around and saw it.
Yes, I think it's appeared, I would say, maybe in the last 3 months.
For sure.
Yeah, but I think it's a very good rendition of the Thelemic symbol that Crowley himself used. So yeah.
There we go.